appointments. 24 MMDCEs, they are now jobless. I don't know if the president will find something else for them, but I mean, as it stands now, they have no jobs. I will try as much as possible to run through their names quickly. Martina Apia Nyantechi, Afuano North, Neil Ate Olenu, Amansia West, Daniel Uredu, Nkranza South, Alaji Abdullah Adams, Pru East, Masombe Jerome Kofi Jima, Sini East, Joseph Edu, Ewutu Singer West, Samuel Kwame Ajekum, Isujamines, Seth Asante, Etiwa West, Comfort Asante, New Joaben North, Isaac Kwejo Boabeng, in Sawama Dwejiri, Daniel Alexander Ninoy, Edumwa Adentan, Mohamed Bashiru Kamara, Ga Central, Elizabeth Kaki Man Ga East, Patrick Kwesi Brakon Kumo, Wejagbawe, Rashida Mahama East, Mampusi Emmanuel Jalula, Kajao, Krachi West, Lengwa Bright Kwame Nkwenta South, Luzina Barikisu, Sola Tuna Kalba, David Akologo Amwa Bolga East, Tahiru Isahaku Ahmed Boku West, Aisha Baton Ho Sisala West, Seth Kwesi Agbi South Ton, Patrick Hodgson Amponting Amenfi Central, and Dorcas Elizabeth Amwa in Zema East. So these are the people whose appointments have been revoked as MMDCs. The commentary on this particular news is that it appears that the kind of God that the finance minister is serving is so great, because there have been several shouts, several calls for him to relinquish his position, for the president to, revoke his appointment as minister. But then these calls for times without number fall on deaf ears. So that's what people are saying, that for all these people, for 24 persons who have been, sacked, and then the finance minister, despite all the calls, even from members of the New Patriotic Party, 86 MPs saying that, look, we've had enough of this man. The president said, nah, he still continues, in that capacity as finance minister. But this paper is reporting that fear has gripped some ministers because of the move that the president has made by firing the 24 MMDCs, and this could potentially mean that there's going to be a reshuffle in the coming days. The paper also alleges that the delay is intentional. The delay with regards to the reshuffling of ministers is intentional because the president wanted the MPP's parliamentary and presidential primaries to be done before he makes any such move. Let me again start with you, Honorable Segbefi, on this note.
It's similar to Makisa all over again.
This is positioning people who, for me, will be seen to be favoring or are seen in favor of the current flag bearer of the MPP. And those that had shown open allegiance to other candidates, some have been punished. Even in their parliamentary primaries, people have lost seats who have gone against, and there were concerted efforts by the MPP to get these people out of their parliamentary positions. How much more you who is appointed? That one with a stroke of a pen, you are disappointed. And for us in the NDC, we can only sit by and smile. You see, if you even remove ministers now, you have to go through a vetting process to bring others back. Unless you are going to say, well, this is my opportunity to reduce the number of ministers I have, therefore I'll combine ministers. But what is a minister who is going to go through a vetting process that will take a month? If you remove ministers in this February and you go into March, April before the person takes office, and you have elections in December, and some were even thinking November, it won't happen, and you have elections in December, you're going to have how many months? What is the person coming to do? If it's a deputy minister, he still has to go through vetting to get to the minister. So when they say that he who the gods want to destroy,
face make mad.
You are beginning to see some, because the people you are touching are MPPO. They are MPP people. They are not what's it called? NDC, some other political party. They are your people. So for me, it's easier to go and beg. It's easier to go and beg and get some, rather than to be going down this open clarity. Because for us, we are good. A divided house cannot stand. And the house is completely divided. The only thing keeping MPP at the moment is the fact that they have power. You remove that power and you will see how it will be fragmented immediately. And the power is going to be removed on December 7th. And then we'll all see we are at the bottom looking at that monkey climbing the tree, and we'll all see the nether regions and know what it is. Because some of these moves, 28, we didn't say 5 or 3, 28 have been removed. And that is a serious matter. When you are changing, making changes, huge changes of this nature, it is an acceptance that my party is fragmented and the people are not going to work for my candidate. So I must find people who are going to work for my candidate. And this is all from people. So we at the NDC, we are watching them. If the president and the flag bearer, who is the vice president, feel that this is the action that will help their cause, we are watching them. Any MC or DC you remove now, you will be lucky if he just stays neutral in what is coming to happen. But the likelihood of him using his strength and energy to ensure that that particular district constituency he is in will not go back to you, it's also going to be very great. Neutrality is the best they can hope for, but people are going to work against their party. So if you are increasing the army of opposition from within, we in the NDC are grateful. I won't say much more than that. It's a bad political move from where I'm sitting. But
do you not also think that it's hard time we had a reshuffle of ministers?
No.
So
the time has passed.
So then we have to
Leave him. Leave everybody. It won't change anything. Nothing is going to change. Leave everybody. Ghanaians are tired. As I said, if you change the person now, what is the impact the person is going to, who the new person is coming, what is his impact? The impact we needed for the removal of Ken Ofriatta was at the time when we made the announcement that we're going to the IMF, to give confidence to people that this was real change. And we're coming. That is where the impact is felt. It's nothing to do with competence or ability. It is the perception. You're in your biggest borrowing is from a market, and the market work on perceptions. And you are telling everybody that we are going to solve this problem. And so the gesture you make to help that is to remove the finance minister. You are not saying he's not a good person. No. It's done everywhere in the world. You have this type of a crisis and your whole economic team is intact, and you take the leader of the economic team and tell us to make him president, go ahead. Ghanaians, we wash our face up. Yes, that's what you are telling us. Look, when you have good, you are looking for better. And people thought that Mahama was not even good, but we said he was good. Instead of us to keep him and get better, you change him. And now you have moved from good and you have reached West. This is the worst government since the Fourth Republic began. The West. So we were able to move from good. We went to bad, we didn't get there. We went to the west, we didn't. Now we are the west. That's where we are. Economically. Name any sector. Cocoa that we were joking about. Look at where we are in terms of, let's just take the production. From a point where, how many years ago, we were able to produce 1 million tons under NDC. And the MPP was even trying at the time to take some credit of that 1 million. That no, they had done this, that. And now we are at about 400,000, if I'm not right, I stand to be corrected. Or maximum 600,000. So when you now increase cocoa purchases, whereas it is a norm that people believe that cocoa, because of the mixture certain companies do, you need to get a certain quality of cocoa, which is lower than ours, to mix. They take small quantity. In our time, we took 100,000 tons. No big deal. How much are we taking this? It's showing that our production, even the one we are supposed to give our local, we can't get it. So now we have to import cocoa to give. You say, oh no, it's not that. It's different. It's just the normal importation. So what has happened to our cocoa production since you came? Somebody is talking about environmental emissions tax, and somebody is telling you that we were doing tree planting, and it's the trees that deal with the carbon dioxide. So what the amount of money that has gone into that sector, what is the impact of it in terms of the emissions because the impression you are trying to give is that the emissions tax is supposed to be environmental friendly. You are trying to raise revenue. That is the bottom line. It's got nothing to do with trying to stop emissions in Ghana. The place where you should, look, name any sector. Plus, we are totally finished as a country. It is the love of democracy that has kept us all going. So MPP is an abject complete failure, as from where I'm sitting. There is nothing. And in all this, you have an EC that says, I will change a date. You haven't told us about ROPA. You have no timetable for the year. All this, and it's in this climate that EC can decide that we are going to change dates. Please, let us go, as we all know, status quo maintained, and go and do. Look, there is no single day. Go and check from 92 elections to date. There is no single day that we haven't had elections. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have had elections on those days right through. So we are prepared to even have a discussion, no problem, on the change of the day. If they say faith days, most faith days are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we are prepared to have that discussion. But to change the month, no. And you must know that the date is set by the Constitution. You have to calculate from the date of swearing in backwards. 30 days, more or less. So if that is the position, you are looking at the 7th or 8th, thereabouts, which will put you onto even a bigger failed day. If you move from Saturday, you go to Sunday, you are creating even a bigger problem. The traditional, you say, why haven't you talked about Tuesday? We don't go fishing on Tuesday. So you have to know how you play that particular game. And it means that it requires legislative, constitutional change. So you need consensus on everybody. That's why we told the EC, let us go to Parliament and put together something which we will say will be implemented in 2028. We do it now, there is no confusion. Everybody knows it's coming. That one too, you say why? We should all now go for Ghana card to say we are going to use Ghana card to get voters ID card. Meanwhile, you cannot confirm that everybody has got Ghana. What are we doing to ourselves? Bless. So it's Macky Sall all over again in a different format. That's what we are saying. Right. So we don't want anybody to come and postpone our election. Right. We don't want anybody, I'm saying it here, to come and postpone our election. We all know, and we have known from whenever, that 7th December we are going to vote. It hasn't changed. What? So this issue of MCs, this is all, look, the head of the snake is cattle. All we are seeing is that the body is dancing on the ground. You understand? That's how it is, but it's over.
Agbena. Right. I'll do a few messages. Musa Batwa in Nasawasi says the cabinet decisions where Kufuor and Bawumia are supervising deciding to impose VAT on electricity was a wicked decision. The following killer taxes must be scrapped: network charge on VAT, network charge COVID-19, network charge NHIL, import levy, social import levy, import duty, import VAT, import health, national insurance, Bawumia is moving the country from taxation to taxation and more taxation. Thank you so much for your message. This one here says, if the president wants he should sack the ministers, it will not work. That the time is up. They will surely go. Prosper from Janga in West Mamprusi. Thank you, Prosper, for your message. Good morning to the good people of Mamprusi. Good morning to you, Bless. The sacking of the 24 MMDCs is a scam. The president wants to compensate some MPP members who have not benefited from the government since it took power. From Amos in Asimfusu. Thank you, Amos, for your message. Sami Boache in Asamankese says, Kofi Bento, the deputy CEO of Imani, has said it all, and indeed, Dr. Bawumia is the obvious choice to take the position of the president, and all well-meaning Ghanaians will attest to the fact that Dr. Bawumia has served as the best vice president we have had in the history of Ghana. Fellow Ghanaians, don't be deceived by the incompetent Mahama, and give a fair hearing to Dr. Bawumia. Thank you so much for your message, Sami Boache, former Saman Kese. This one here also says, good morning. I'm Lukman Nat from Tamale Central. Please say hi to Sir Alex Segbefia. Say, Mr. Alex, I don't know if you've been knighted. Where the knighting is coming from. President Nana Akufo-Addo should rather fire his super incompetent finance minister rather than the MDCs. The incoming president JDM is in the north, and we are happy receiving him. The 24-hour policy is a game changer. Thank you so much for your message. Good morning, Pan-African TV. Please, kindly help us appeal to the MPP government that NAPCO personnel are dying of hunger and they should pay our arrears. Interesting. I know how the movement for change folk feel about this NAPCO issue, especially if you look at the monetary investment that went into it, and when you put that side by side, what went into with the one district, one factory. Let me do some more messages. Hey, this one is plain to you. As for the failed Bawumia, the least said about him, the better. Was it not the same Bawumia, the so-called economic guru who has driven Ghana's economy into a ditch and bankruptcy? He had better kept quiet. Asanko says the most significant legacies of this failed MPP government, in my view, are incompetence, arrogance, corruption, non-God-fearing attitude, violent activities to win power, and lawlessness. They lied their way to power by accusing the previous government of taking too much taxes from the people, only to come to power to introduce to us a tax fatigue economy. That is the incompetent and the most dishonest MPP government for you. Asanko from Santa Maria. I'll do this last one. This one here says, my name is Teacher Kujo from Tepa. So NDC people cry. I don't understand them at all for choosing JDM as flag bearer. Every Ghanaian voter knows his competence and incompetence. I would have voted for NDC if any other member had been elected as flag bearer rather than JDM. Greetings to Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, Honorable Eric Nanaje Mang Prempe, MPP parliamentary candidate for Anono. With this message, are you sure you would have voted? He has given himself away. Well, he has hung the mood. Well, if we could amplify the sound, I'd be grateful. Our viewers are complaining that it's still a bit low, so if you could amplify it, I'll be glad. But let me proceed to Doc Inusa. There's this assertion, or should I say allegation, and like someone said that the president is trying to reward some people from the party, last minute reward for their loyalty to the NPP. Is that the case?
Thank you very much, Bless. The issue of politicization of our local governance sector is not a phenomenon that is new as far as our governance structure is concerned. It has been something that has been there since the inception of the Fourth Republic. As a movement, what we envision for the people of Ghana is to strengthen the local governance system. Because what is the local governance system meant for? Is to take governance, to decentralize the central government and take the powers of the central governance, the government, to the doorstep of the people. And if we look at the Article 243 of our 1992 Constitution, one of the provisions that we argue that has to be amended is that the president should not appoint these district chief executives. And this opens a window for politicization of our governance, local governance infrastructure. That today we're seeing our local governance sector being rendered inefficient because the district assemblies are not getting their common fund. They don't have the legal mandate to be able to borrow on their books and contribute to the social and economic development within their districts. And that is something that we have underpinned under one of the thematic areas that is propelled by the movement for change, that we need to have a process to reform our constitution. And so what you are saying is not something new. And it's been followed by the duopoly, and both MPP and NDC have done the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? Today, if you go to an area like China, an area called Zhongguancun, because they have an adequate local governance infrastructure and system, I can tell you that the GDP of Zhongguancun itself is 1/3 of that of Ghana. And this is just a small area in China, which has technological parks, industrial parks, and tech incubators, which is part of the agenda for the movement for change as underpinned in our economic cluster under the auspices of the Great Transformational Plan. And so what we are seeing in our local governance sector is something that we need to really discuss as a country. And I'm happy we have a learned panel here that indeed, moving forward, do we allow political parties to decide who should represent who should have office, or who should hold office within the local governance infrastructure, or we should leave it out to the people within the districts that know their problems, that are within the districts and know the people and have the will, the ability to select those that are competent to lead them. And that goes to beg the question of the issue of the duopoly of the NDC and then the MPP. And this is one of the examples that we are seeing today, that 24 DCs have been sacked. Of course, maybe they do not favor the agenda of the MPP. 28 DCs that have been...
I think of the 24 hours.
No. Well, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. 28 DCs that have been fired. Right? Now that begs the question that, indeed, going forward as a country, on a serious note, Bless, we need to reform the Constitution. We need to have adequate measures in place to strengthen our local governance system. For so long, our local governance system is rendering inefficient public goods and services to the people within their localities. And that is why today we can see inadequacy in our road infrastructure, inadequacies in our medical infrastructure, inadequacy in the distribution of electricity and potable water to communities across Ghana. And we need to visit that. And we need to halt the politicization of our local governance system. And let me end this by saying that when you want your public service or your civil service, which is the key machinery in which any government functions under, to work very well, we should adhere to the ideal principles of bureaucracy. And that reflects down in the civil service, that today we have politicized our public administration to the sense that a lot of public policies are not rendering inefficient goods and services to the people of Ghana. And the local governance system is one of them. And so we need to revisit our constitutional provisions so that we have a form of devolution and decentralization to give power to the people within the local assemblies and district assemblies to be able to appoint their DCs, MMCs, and what have you, so that they can be able to contribute to an influence form of development beyond the interests of political parties within their localities.
I want to find out from you. Do you think that the very fact that these MMDCs are not people who are voted for by the people is the main reason why there appears to be so much pressure on parliamentarians? Because ideally it's not the job of a parliamentarian to bring development to a particular community or to a particular district, but because they are voted for, now they are obliged to make these promises, when in reality the people supposed to realize the dreams and aspirations of these communities are just appointed by the president, and then they are there doing nothing. All the pressure is on the parliamentarian.
Absolutely, I concur to what you're saying, and it's coupled by also the kind of promises that are rendered by these office seekers as far as our parliamentary elections is concerned. You have a lot of MPs that go into the constituencies and promise the constituents things that God knows if they can even achieve it, because as an MP, you are a lawmaker. Your functions are within the legislature. You understand? And you cannot uphold the office of the DC. And a lot of MPs are taking up that tax. And that is to do with the politicization of our local governance sector that I initially reiterated, that we need to look at our constitutional reform. And that is one of the key underpinnings of the movement for change, that we would form a process of constitutional reform so that going forward as a country, we would have more inclusive government. Do you understand? That the people would have more power to be able to make decisive decisions within their localities that would have an effect on governance.
Right. Thank you very much. Now let me proceed to Dr. Jamal. What he thinks also about this development. Does it come to you as a surprise?
Oh, I don't think so. Like my big brother mentioning issues about constitution. Okay, the government has their prerogative. Let's say the president has a prerogative to appoint and disappoint. Okay, and if you look at our MMDCs, I'm confused. I'm confused in the sense that, in fact, if you look at the trajectory of growth, the trajectory of implementation, the love for which, when it was implemented, Ghana was seen to be a beacon. In fact, other countries came to learn from us. But I will come to the fact that people have been sacked and they have lost their job, as you rightly said. It's like someone has the power to appoint you and the person has decided that you should go. That's the constitution has not clutched anybody the opportunity to ask the president why he did that. He has his reasons. But my challenge is that for how long will they get onto the seat? For how long will we be able to turn things around? Some of them may be those who have good leadership. Mm-hmm. Because one of the challenges we have had is that our constitution has not actually prescribed to us the caliber of person who should be a DC. And because these are not constitutional provide issues, we normally will bring in a party person who perhaps may not be able to have that leadership that can drive those local economies. And so you will still see our MMDC being a name in books, being a name, but the implementation of these MMDs and the role that they play in ensuring that we engender growth at the local level is not seen. And so, true, some people have lost their job, others have gotten jobs.
Yeah.
So they will still have to go. Some of them may not get the opportunity to have the jobs because they will still need the assembly members to vote. You understand? They will still need assembly members to vote. This is where we also see dissipation of resources, because assembly members will collect money from them before they vote. So it will trigger another form of, I don't want to call it noise, another form of issues within the country, where the media of all of you will now go back to say, oh, who is collecting money, who is doing what? Have you seen that? So for me, the timeliness of every decision in every sphere tells us whether we actually want to grow, we actually are serious in dispensing whatever we want to do, and what are the issues that come with it. One, as I said, it will take them those of them who were not originally working there. I know some of them who were originally there as assembly members working within the assembly. They may be able to faster their progress of learning and able to maybe do something. Those who are new entrants and they are coming in, they need to have a buy-in. One way is that they need to be able to get the trust of those assembly members they are going to work with before they can be able to even engender some level of development and growth. Another challenge I think they will face will be that these new people, some of them who are new and they are coming in, who also have an idea that may not sync well with the community aspiration. We have very poor handing over notes from previous leaders to the current leaders. They may not even know what is happening in the community, whether what project has started and what has ended, and how they are also going to begin. So sacking somebody and bringing somebody should be done in a terminus manner, whereby you give them ample time to be able to sit in very well. But our local government, the question I keep asking myself is that, must we even think about somebody appointing somebody? But my problem is that Ghana is so polarized to a level that even the downstream, nobody cares about who is there. What they want is, I want money. And so if you are going to ask that someone should appoint them, before you come in, you need to give them money. If we are going to vote, then we must not vote on political lines. That is where some of us have problem. Because left to me, I have been a lecturer for over a decade. If I want to run for an office, I'll go and run for, let's say a metropolitan chief executive from where I come from, Tamale. Because I think that we should rather have people who think that they have that level of leadership to propel the economic growth and development. Otherwise, Ghana, every day I keep doing lectures, I keep asking the question, have we taken off or we are to take off in terms of economic growth progress? Ghana has not taken off. Ghana, are we even are they the preconditions to take off? Where are we? We go one step toward 3 or 10 steps back. And so where we are, the only antidote we can have is to have a very strengthened local government system. And so somebody should not have an opportunity to just say, please leave your job. And even if we are going to vote, we should rather sensitize and conscientize the people at the local level to know that don't put Mr. A there, not because he's a political party. Put Mr. A there who has the knowledge to be able to develop the area.
Absolutely.
And so for me, when I sit down, this thing will not stop as long as you keep appointing people, because it's a human factor. If I disagree with Honorable here, and you feel that I'm going to be a threat to your growth, you will sack me. You understand? And so, at every point in time, where we think that someone is even doing well and the person is good, and the person has a very different couch-out vision from somebody who appointed, they will sack the person. And so, because we do not have reasons why they were sacked, we cannot even begin to think about why they were sacked. But what we can think about is that, what can we do going forward to ensure that, one, we greet people and don't give them the opportunity to just leave people off their job. Two, those people who are going to be asked to be on the seat, there should be that level of participatory in promoting the accountable democracies, such that at the end of the day, the deliverables must come to the community. I am telling you, our local government has now become a failure. I'm telling you, look, you go to the assemblies, they do nothing. Do you know that even the taxes that they normally collect is now being done by the central government? We can talk about even property rate. You have to go and pay at the GRA.
Yeah.
Those days, I remember they will just come to you with the paper. If you do it, the following day they will come. You will be forced to go and pay. And now, they don't even force to ensure compliance, because the money doesn't come directly to them. We had excesses where some of them will take the money and there will be some loophole here and there. But I think that as a country, we should have been finding an innovative way to make sure that the money stays and used for the purpose for which it's supposed to be done. Hitherto, we used to know that the assembly will come out with their project plan for the year. their targeted revenue to ensure that that thing is done. Now, if they collect money, there should be a big hand somewhere that will force them to use the money to do it. Look, my area where I stay in Koforidua, a gutter was done in 2010. Gutters, so up to today, the gutters have not been done. And it was done by the assembly, part of the assembly revenue that they were raising. And as I tell you, every day I drive my car is down. Every time I pay money to buy new spare part. And the assembly is there, the road is deteriorating. We as communities are financing the road. And so for me, the citizenry are to be blamed. I ran something as part of an NGO that I run, a policy think tank that we do. We call it Community Driven Impact Assessment. Next week, we are likely to launch one of our reports that would date on ethnocentric voting, and at the same time, we look at citizens' participation in the development of local communities. It is very sickening. Someone will tell you, oh, the party. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't sync with the minds of people. And so, Ghana, we need to retool our citizens. In the sense that, one, we need to do town hall meetings to let them know that it is in your own good to ask people to demand accountability from you. Because one way is that the mind of an individual is said that if he's fed up and he doesn't tell you, and he's going to think otherwise, it will be dangerous for the growth of the country. One day, something spare up and everybody is in trouble. And so it is good that you teach the person to hold you accountable. It doesn't mean it will stop corruption. But once they hold you accountable, it will only lessen corruption. And so if we don't begin to look at this assembly differently, and we think that we just appoint some party boys or appoint people to come and sit in there, we're going to have trouble. But I think that there are solid people who may be appointed. There are solid people they were appointed. But the community, what is the role of the community? You go there, the building is there. You ask even community, he has never even been there.
Yeah.
We have Tamale Metropolitan Assembly. I only went there because I have something to do. But we have people in the community who has never entered an office there to even know what is cooking in there. Yeah. But the growth and development is boiled in those rooms. So if you have people who go to office and they go there late, and at the end of the day, they don't think for the assembly will be where it is. So one, we should retool our people. Engender them, give them that level of knowledge. There is this quotation that says that when people have adequate knowledge, they are able to breed the kind of development that we want. But this is the case, some politicians will always seek to make sure that they render the people so bankrupt in thinking, so that the people will always come and say, that's what is happening. You go to the district assembly now, you ask yourself, they just brought somebody who is just a party boy. He comes there to sit there. He does no thinking. The assembly, whether there is a leakage somewhere, nobody cares. There are potholes on the road, nobody cares. Until the citizens begin to make noise. Why my person make noise before development comes to them? So I think that people have lost their jobs. It's unfortunate. Some have also gotten their jobs. It's fortunate. But the fact remains that, what do we want as a nation? Are we going to continue this trajectory? Are we supposed to rethink our way through? So that, because if you look at the proponents, when the district assembly concept came, it was very enviable. And that is the only way by which you can develop. I told people that we should create more districts in Ghana than creating regions. Because if you create more districts and resources are sent to the district, there will be what we call a turnover around those districts. And I don't want to talk about this on TV. There are things that, as a researcher, I have observed. And some of these I discussed that within the confines of the room. But it is just about how we run our governance system. But I think that the district assembly concept, I'll plead with all of us, let's all be interested. Because
and also I want to find out, I mean, you're making a good point. Should it still be the president's decision?
No, it is, for me, I will opt for us to vote.
To vote. I'm asking
and
because...
I'm saying I'll opt for us to vote. But if we cannot vote because of these lingering issues that we saw in past, because you see, it has become like, even this assembly member, it has become political. Please, I don't know again. It has become political. And the unfortunate thing is that sometimes when you go there to collect data, you sit with the assembly person, you realize that he lacks knowledge about the community. Please, I don't know how you're getting me.
Nothing.
If you go online, you can Google some of the algorithm that I have developed. We call it Transparency Barometer Index. It's developed by ADRI. That's my NGO. And when you get in there, you can report your community development within a shortest possible time. We take the data, we run quantitative analysis of that. We can even tell you, I can sit in my office and tell you, look, in this community in Volta region, they need good road, they need water, but not road. And so sometimes, as part of developmental agenda, most of us who are in the political space do not actually do what is expected by the people. And so these assemblies fail the people because they don't even know the needs of the people. And so the Transparency Barometer Index I'm talking about, people report that, okay, this community, let's say this area, Abelimpi, 300 people have reported. Out of the 300, 400 said they need water. If as a politician, you come to provide them water, you will win election here. That is what most politicians don't know. If you go to an area where we do survey, that people tell you, oh, 400, oh, we need road, right? If you go and provide the road, 2/3 of the people who have said they need road, you have won their vote. I can tell you in 2016, 2020, I was at the GH1. In fact, most of I churned out most of those figures that was done in 2020. And I told them, there were communities I told them, I said, this community, this particular election, and this will win, and people will lose, and people will win. Because there was one community I went, boss, and it was very funny. They just needed Spiram. They have very good road. They just need speed ram because the cars are killing their animals.
The animals,
they are into farming.
Livestock, yeah.
So they just need only speed ram. And that community was a stronghold of one of the political parties, which I will not mention. And I remember after normally we do stakeholder engagement, I told the DC that, look, at your backyard, this thing is happening. He said, oh no, you are just an academician, you don't understand. And the party actually lost. And so what?
Speed ramp.
Speed ramp. You see, forgive me, I'm going this trajectory because you see, there are certain times for example, in public policy advocacy research, you realize that whatever the community needs should have been understood by the district assemblies. And so once that this assembly feel and understand the communal needs, you as a major party, even if you are appointed, you are in Accra, you will lose. They have research offices. They have planning offices. What is their role? Is it to collect salary? No. They have to go to the community. They should know that we have this number of potholes in this community. How much money do we need to solve that? You understand? And that is going to play out in this election because, for example, we have had a lot of, as I said.
So let me ask a question.
Okay.
We have 10 months to an election.
Yes, please.
The election
Process as is currently.
Yes.
You know, the president nominates, it must go to the assembly for them
To vote. Some may not get it.
Some may not get it.
Yes.
Some people will not take post,
Yes.
possibly before April.
Yes, that's true. Even me.
And exactly.
Yes.
So, does it make sense?
it doesn't.
What does the person come to do in 5 months?
Yeah.
5 months.
So
It's the point I'm making.
So unless the person is able to carry the assembly members along, because you see, you as a DC, you would need to flare very well with your presiding officer or a presiding member. When there are frictions, it harms the assembly. You know, they are in those subcommittees and they work. Oh, that's how it is done. Is it that this assembly? That's what I'm saying. We have not actually proper tutored people as to what actually the role is. So what I have realized is that we need to broaden our focus in thinking by letting you know, look, the central government cannot help the development of this country in terms of hinterlands, in terms of sparing roads.
I don't want to cut you again, but I think you should make mention of it. I don't think any of the political parties are against voting.
Yeah.
We have a problem with what the voting is meant to achieve. If you still leave the power with the president, because of the number of appointees he has, and puts in the assembly, you will make the voted person a lame duck.
That is true.
Because when he enters there, when the president dictates to his appointees, I need this, and you take it to a vote, they lose. So we said, if you are even voting for the MCE, you should look at how many people the president is allowed to appoint within the structure. If you don't touch that, there's no point in touching this issue. Then you really have democracy working, because people will now filter into
In fact, that is not to add to that. To add to what you are saying, that's a this constitutional reform.
That is why.
No, that is holistic because it is not just only about voting. I don't think that if we say we are going in to vote DCs, we are going to do only that. Because see, if you don't limit the power of someone having to control the boardroom, you have done nothing.
Yeah.
You will need to rather empower the citizenry. Like what is done? Look, there is. I went to do PAD, Promoter Accountable Democracies in Canada, and the communities will have to choose who goes to sit down and talk for them. I don't know that. Look, there was one thing that I witnessed. The school sent me to witness a voting of choosing developmental projects for community for a local county. Let's say a DC, like a district. And then what they do? Honorable will bring your proposal to the county that I want to build a theater for people to watch movie. Bless you, bring your proposal that you want to construct this, you want to do that, and then they pull all these pool together, and everybody vote, even when the child is 2 years. In Canada, why I say Antigonish, everybody will vote. In fact, I wept that night, and it is not in the night. They will play loud music, they will bring musicians, everyone will sing. Then when they done, they open it, and you will vote. So I remember that when I was writing the floors, I wrote that the families with larger people, they're able to dictate who, because there was one, they were supposed to do a community center, and then the lady was going to do a community center, and then latrine. Okay. Then when the gentleman, when they came to, he came to speak to the little girl. And because I was writing my report, I was reading. He told the little girl, will you want to go and have nice place to do your natural things, wherever, or you want to go and sing? The lady said, yes, I like my washroom to be nice. And I'm telling the gentleman won. So, and that is when I realized that this assembly, the county leader, you are there. But you don't dictate to what is built and what is not built. I don't know whether you are getting it. What is built and what is not built, it's not dictated by you. And so I will want to see a kind of, how do you call it, local government being practiced, whereby I will have the option to vote. Even though the assemblies will be there to have I will have the option to vote. And if we all can practice that, I am telling you, Ghana will be a better place.
I agree with you.
Beyond the duopoly, you have to add that.
Oh no, for you know, when you talk about duopoly, it is maybe the party may say that is sold for that period. You need to get some of our data, because sometimes when I look at upcoming political parties who don't understand the chemistry of NDC MPP, you will have to have problem. Because you see, if you look at the trajectory of political party participation and look at acceptance of political party message and loyalty, you will begin to realize that at least the two political parties have a core value of almost up to 40%. The floating voter, which is around 18%, makes most of the decisions. It is up to this time around, we now see swing regions. And even within these swing regions, there is something small you can do as a chemistry that changes the mindset of those swing regions. But if NDC decide to go to political party, with that NDC or MPP goes into election, and there is no voter fatigue among their core base, each of them will get almost 40.
Right.
And so the duopoly that you want to break will be another.
Well, right.
No, we'll talk about.
Right. we can talk about it, but what I want you to understand is that
yes, please.
The people of Ghana are tired of the duopoly. And it's evident everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's evident. We hear slogans and mantras out there in the public that, oh, as for the NDC and the MPP, they are the same. You understand? Okay. It's out there.
But when it comes to voting, they are not going to change.
No, but you see that is what.
But I want to see. Let me see the good other things that, or let me say the surprising. Let me use the word surprising. The surprising part of the things that you do to be able to change the psychic of a Ghanaian. I think that will be good, and that can be good for us. But what I think personally, what we have seen in the data is that, look, we have somebody in terms of political loyalty, ethnocentric voting.
Exactly.
That he is fed up with Mr. A, but he will not vote for Mr. B.
And there are so many of those people.
And the only thing you can win election in Ghana, first round, is when you are able to create fatigue in your opponent camp. like Honorable was talking. If you create fatigue, your opponents come, his own people will not vote. Like, I didn't want to go into the explanation he has given that once those people have been sacked, definitely the people are not going to vote for the party. Yeah. Even if they're going to vote for the party, they will still be angry. And that causes voter fatigue. That's one. And at the same time, it helps some people to be disgruntled.
And that is why I'm saying...
I have to make a comment on that.
It trickles down to their families.
That is why I'm saying that...
Now, they'll vote for you, right?
No, well, you see, we need to move beyond...
NDC, MPP.
And not just NDC and MPP, but the ideology that says that, oh, we need to be loyal to our party, and then Ghana secondary. We need to move beyond that. And that is why Ghana is where it is today.
Okay.
And that is one of the themes underpinning the movement for change, led by Honorable Alan Kojo Martin.
Okay.
You understand?
So can I add another point of information for you to know?
Yes.
Look, it took the NDC and MPP, what they have today, for almost over 2 decades, because Honorable has his children. He grows with his children with the family tree. And there is a particular research that I could not share because it would have created a problem for me personally. So even when we finished taking the work, I told my team that no, we cannot share this because we delve into family lineage voting. And we realize that how NPP has become a core in Ashanti region and a core in East region. And some of our own profile those things online. But I'm only saying that if any third, I'm not discouraging it. In fact,
but the thing is that
it's adding to what I'm saying.
You see, the thing is that
it's adding to what I'm saying.
The thing is that nobody can discourage a movement.
Nobody.
The movement for change
is
powered by Ghana's interests, led by Honorable Alan Kojo Martin.
Right.
And one thing that you guys would have to understand is that the next election will be determined by the youth of
this election or the next one.
This
one.
The current
thank you very much.
Let's listen to another.
Let me dispel this notion now. You see, there was a particular propaganda that has worked, and we are now unraveling it.
Yeah.
The first propaganda was that John Mahama was no good.
Okay.
He's the worst thing that has happened to Ghana, blah, blah, blah. And it's still, that's why up to now, people can say, oh, why did you bring John Mahama? And because of the actions of this MPP government, that notion is being dispelled, or is being dispelled. Because naturally, or when you do the comparison, it's clear. Then there's the second one, which is now coming on, which is when the MPP realized their abysmal performance. They put into the system that, oh, the MPP and the NDC, they are the same. The MPP and the NDC are the same. And nobody, so the when somebody says that, I say, why? Tell me why. What is the same? And you see the person starts fumbling. Because they cannot tell you what is it that makes them the same. Because if you bring an issue, we will debate, take facts and dispel it. But it is propaganda, pure and simple. We are not the same. There is nothing close to MPP and NDC. And let's have a show on it alone. I'm happy to come and there is nothing. And ask the question. You say they are the same. What makes them the same? And you might get some similarities because of size. But in terms of the ideology, in terms of how we implement things, I've said to MPP, the MPP, what's it called? That's the difference between movement for change and even the MPP. If you look at what the movement for change is saying, it's simply about implementation.
Yes.
It's not about the idea. And I've always said that the difference between MPP and